One of the biggest hurdles when converting a car from fuel injection to carburetors is fuel pressure and fuel supply. Fuel injected cars run anywhere from 40 psi upwards, whereas a carbureted car wants to run anywhere from as low as 2 to about as high as 7. We've got 45 Webers on this car, and we have our fuel pressure set at 3 psi, and that is plenty for them. It's more about volume than it is pressure. One way around that problem is the Aeromotive 13220 fuel pressure regulator, which is specifically designed for these conversions. It's more or less 2 pressure regulators in one. It's got 2 adjustment screws. One controls pressure from the pump, and the other controls pressure to the carburetors. So it allows you to be very, very accurate in your fuel pressure regulation. One thing that is worth mentioning when you do a EFI to carburetor conversion with an electric fuel pump is make sure you use a tachymetric relay with something like this. It is incredibly dangerous to have your fuel pump run constantly. So whenever you're using an electric pump on a carbureted car, make sure you use a tachymetric relay. It's got 2 outlets where you can screw in fuel pressure gauges, one for your supply pressure and one for your line pressure. The fuel system in this vehicle from start to finish begins with our fuel pump in the tank. Currently it's a Walbro 460, which is overkill. This car used to have a single turbo 2J in it, which we pulled out and put the NA1 in with the carburetors. Rather than pull the fuel pump out and change it for something else, it was easier for us to just use the Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator. It handles the pressure from the Walbro 460 fine. Moving on from that, from the regulator, it goes to a fuel distribution block with 3 separate lines to each carburetor. Quite often you'll see triple Webers connected in series, so that is the fuel supply going from one carburetor to the next, ending in a deadhead at the last carburetor. While it's not often a problem, you can run into issues where the car is in full throttle, high RPM situations for a long period of time, where the furthest carburetor from the fuel pressure supply will actually start to run dry and not get adequate pressure. So as a fail-safe, although I don't think it'll ever be an issue on this car, we've decided to run it properly the first time round. The fuel pressure regulator is supplied on its own with 2 MPT fittings to block off the fittings you don't need, as well as a mounting bracket. All fittings on it are MPT threads. We've, in this circumstance, used Aeroflow parts and AN fittings just for extra peace of mind. Now that we've got our fuel system sorted out, the fuel pressure regulator is really the last piece of the puzzle. It's time to get it tuned properly and get it ready for the street.